Welcome, everybody, to the Monday Hybrid Live Show, Canada edition. First ever HYROX took place in Toronto. First HYROX of the season in North America. So I brought on two people who were there, two people that I saw, two people that I was very happy to see. Dave is here and his co-host, Bethany McChesney. Welcome, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. So,
how much did it cost you to get Bethany to be available at this time? Because it's not easy to do.
I said, man, it would be a big solid if you came on and talked with me and Dave. And she said, okay, I'll see what I can do. And we made it happen.
Yeah. I usually coach a class at this time, and because I can barely walk, people were very empathetic towards me, and I had someone cover my class.
Well, I'm physically doing okay, but let's kind of start there. I want to start with how everybody's races went. Dave, did you get a chance to race on Sunday?
No, I totally pussed out.
Like, I thought you didn't judge on Sunday so that you could race.
I didn't, but just by the time it all was coming around and everything, and I was like looking, I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done. I just needed to, I was just emotionally, physically drained, and I started thinking about it, and I was still pretty sore, and I was like, what do I have to gain from this versus what am I risking? And I thought it's just not worth it. It just wasn't worth it. So I pulled the plug. I played it safe, and partial regret, but not big. I still think it was the right call.
Okay. Well, I have to say, I was ready to go home by midday on Sunday as well. It's a lot of HYROX.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that, but I want to hear about Bethany's race, and then I know everyone's dying to hear about my amazing doubles performance.
I still did one race.
You did one race?
I did one race, yeah.
Saturday morning?
Yeah, Saturday.
Okay, well then tell me about it. That's where let's start there. Tell me about your race.
Sunday. I did Saturday.
Jeez Louise.
Getting specific, man. Dealing specifics.
Come on.
Saturday I did doubles with Rye, which was the plan, and that was the main race I wanted to run. And we had a good time. We had a plan. We stuck to the plan exactly. And aside from our last run, we had a little issue. Rye had some knee issues. Aside from that, the plan worked perfectly, and we shaved 6 minutes off our previous time. Now, previous time being from New York, and I think part of that was just a lot to do with the heat and not having to deal with the heat. So, yeah, our zone times really wasn't much difference, but our run times was quite a bit better.
Well, PBs was definitely the theme this weekend, and we'll talk about that as well.
But yeah, it was great. We had a really good run, and a good time. It was a lot of fun. I don't know where we came in age group. It was probably like 20,000th or whatever, but it didn't really matter because, for us, it was a PR, and I don't think there's anything more fun than getting to run with your significant other, spouse, life partner thing. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. That person that usually lives with you. So yeah, it was good. It was good. Course was fast. So,
Chris, checking in from Mexico, said thanks for a lot of updates. It was a challenge for sure. Great work. Thanks, Chris. Did you see that there might be additional Mexico cities, which we will also get to later on? Bethany, you had one good race and one race that you're not thrilled about, I'm guessing?
Well, it was the race ended up going.
Hang on a second. Did you find it, buddy?
Oh.
He found his phone. Where are you going? Okay. There was a big to-do. I'm sorry, I just have to text the wife. River could not find his phone, and people were losing their minds. And go ahead, Bethany. I apologize.
Yeah, it wasn't that I wasn't pleased with the second race, but we can get to that too. Not like the race, our race personally, but just kind of some situations within the race. But yeah, I raced pro women on Saturday, and it was kind of a weird format because they split the women up with no apparent rhyme or reason as to who was in which heats. There was 3 heats of pro women, and they were not divided up based on projected finishing time. So it was kind of weird in that way. for example, like Maria Fessick was not with Amy Belavacos and Tara Jackson. So they were in different heats. I was in a heat in the middle. And yeah, so a lot of people were kind of time trialing it in a way because you didn't really know who you were racing. But for me, my race did end up going pretty well. I didn't have super high expectations just based on how training went, but I decided I would take a little bit of risks in some places, and it did turn out pretty well. The sled push felt a little bit heavy for me this weekend, but my running felt really good. So I kind of leaned in on my ability to just run and hammer those. And I definitely set some personal bests in the stations. Yeah, and then I blew up at wall balls, which happens sometimes. And it was probably bonking really bad because I was having a hard time even hitting the target at all, and was having a hard time seeing straight and was dizzy by that point. But I ran a 4-minute personal best, so I'll take it.
Okay. And do you want to talk about the other one?
The doubles race?
Yeah.
Yeah, so day 2, the doubles races in general were very busy. And I had heard that they had kind of oversold some heats. And when we were doing the mixed doubles, the course was so crowded. And this was a 2.5 lapper. So a lot of people are really congested in the course. And we were trying to run a fast time, Jeff and I, and potentially qualify for Worlds. And the other part of it too is this was a large percentage of people who've never raced a HYROX before. And there's general etiquette things around racing this type of race that I feel like it should have been talked about. You go into that starting corral and, the MC is fantastic in that she gets people hyped up, but there's a couple, I think, logistical things that should maybe have been mentioned. And one of them was that left pass lane should really not be running unless you're passing people. And I probably yelled on your left maybe 1,000 times, constantly. And people they weren't listening. It's like they didn't know what on your left meant. Some people were annoyed. It was even like when it's this crowded, you shouldn't even necessarily be running side by side with your partner. Like go front to back, like narrow in the running a little bit. And some people like refuse to move, or people would just all of a sudden start to walk before they would go into the inn, just like abruptly stop because they had to cut into the inn. And yeah, it was just getting really frustrating. And one of my major roles in our doubles is to kind of set the pace for the run. So I'm kind of the one who's trying to break through here. And the amount of times I just got elbowed, or like people refused to move and I was expecting them to move and they wouldn't, or I'd have to continually yell at them. And I got sworn at a couple times because I'd be like on your left and people would be like, what's your problem? Like, go around me the other way. I'm like, that's not the way this works. Just move to the right. And a lady once, again, I said, abruptly stopped because she was going in. And her partner swore at me, like, what's your problem? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you just got to move just a little bit to the right and then we can go around on the left. And so it was getting, or people just kind of moseying out of the stations into the rock zone and not paying attention at all, and just would walk right in front of you. And I spent the whole race basically just politely yelling at people to move and just to kind of pay attention. It was just, I don't know. It was very frustrating. And there was a point after I got sworn at again by someone, and I'm not being mean to people. I'm just on your left, on your left, on your left, on your left. And then people getting mad. By the end of it, I was like, I just want this to be over. This is really, really frustrating. And it's not even like I could have gone around right because it was so crowded. It wasn't really an option. And I got knocked into the barriers a couple times. So yeah, I just kind of wanted it to be over by the time I finished.
You know where I actually, Matt, you're muted, but you know where I saw that and we ran into it as a problem was actually going out back onto the track. When you're going to the out
walking,
you were just walking on the inside lane and you had to you would almost run all the way across the outside of the track to pass them and then come back in. It was,
yeah. So Bethany and I had talked some on messages, and I definitely remember it is part of the speech. You know, she does do the hype thing, but I know I heard her say it at least in my heat, and at least maybe one other time as I was nearby. But I think maybe the note for HYROX would be that specifically on doubles waves, you say it more specifically. Hey guys, just so you know, if you're new here, by the way, my heat was almost all new people. Now that I think about it, she said who's new, and it was almost our whole heat.
yeah,
Me and all our guys. And she said, you know, stay to the right. But I think for doubles, they go, you know, there's two of you and there's a lot of people out here, and let's always try to stay one behind the other, and especially going in and out of those rot zones, pay attention, because you are tired and it happen. You know, it happens when we're all just out on a regular trail. You'll see a family, you'll say in your left, they'll be like, oh my God, and they'll get out of the way because they just kind of don't know the etiquette. Here's another thing I thought of during the race, though. Why not just have tape 90% of the floor that says fast, slow? Because then even if you forgot it, once you're out there, you'll kind of start to see it, and you'll kind of probably gradually make your way over. Like, I don't think that's that hard to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like you don't need to separate it with a flag, but literally just tape and like the word fast and the word slow, like every 25 meters.
Well, I think the problem is because they did have those signs on the course, right? That said fast lane. That was relatively frequent. I think the problem is that some people don't necessarily, some people might be like fast for their group that they train with. So then when they come to HYROX, in their mind, they're still the fast one. So that's where they feel like they belong. And I feel like maybe those were the people that were getting really mad at me when I'm like, move over, please. There are faster people that need to go around you. But it was not said in our little debriefing when my group of mixed doubles was going. But
did you have the new girl? Because I know they also had a new gal. Did you have?
It was the same girl.
I'm blanking on her name.
It is possible.
Danielle. Yeah, I definitely heard Danielle say it in my group.
Yeah, and it is possible because she said it in ours, but we were one of some of the first waves to go. And she actually described it in ours. She actually went into detail. I think part of the problem is, yes, I think HYROX can be a little more involving it into the culture of, and instead of just saying fast on the left or slow on the right, just say keep right except to pass.
Yeah.
Like, so
yes,
even Bethany,
yes, I think that's what it should say. Instead of fast lane, it should say passing lane, and then people know that's how it works when you're driving, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So like Bethany, even you're not running in that lane except when you're passing people, and then you go back in, because who knows when Tara Jackson's gonna hop.
Tara and Colin Seafer passed us. Yeah. Right. And we politely move over to the right. She grabbed my butt though, so that was kind of a polite way to get me to.
Well, that is abuse of another athlete, and she should be disqualified.
Yeah, and it was a hard left in, as I recall, and it wasn't easy to get out of the way because me and my partner are slow. Going back on again, merging, being very conscious. But when you make that hard left, because we were in the slow lane, I would have to kind of wait for some guys to go by. But again, super conscious of how racing works. And some people just don't know. And so it's hard to be mad at them for it. But I can be mad at them for not being nice to Bethany about it. But I have the only time I'm not an elite athlete, but the similar experience I can relate is the first horrible Asheville Spartan year. At one point, we were just going downhill forever. And I was like, fuck this. You know what I mean? And it's the middle of the day, so it's all open heats. And I'm tired of being out there. And I start blazing. And it's 6-7 wide, people. And I'm just yelling on your left constantly. And probably 20 times I heard, what's the rush? We're all going to the same place. Or what are you doing? Like, I was a jerk for telling them to not just be 7 across on this mountain where it probably should have been like, 2 across or whatever. So I definitely have seen that. But I think make more social media videos about it. Talk about it more in the zone. And then you're always going to have jerks, right? But you could definitely eliminate a lot of it.
And I think, like, for me, Ryan and I, we would consider ourselves slow. So we stayed out of the left lane. The only time I had someone say to me, on your left, and I couldn't do anything about it, was when we were turning in. So we got on the inside first. And they were like, on your left. I'm like, I'm turning in. They're like, okay. And that was it. So they were good about it. But
I think then even when you're going in, like, swing wide. Like I ran into a couple people because they like hard left. And then you just smack into this big guy's shoulder, and then they yell at me like I did something wrong.
Why is every race with you there's so much physical contact, Beth? What is up with that? The common denominator here seems to be you.
I don't know, Dave.
Chris says, what Bethany is mentioning is going to become a bigger problem each time. I love seeing the sport grow, but what can be done? Should the heats be spaced more, make more lanes, or even add some fences? Yeah, I think fences, not great, but I think this overall idea of, I mean, the only time I ever heard people complain about the course was New York, because that was our first like real sold out day. And this event, while it might have had 7,000 people all in with spectators, I meant to post today, didn't have time. It was about 5,300 finishers, which is what I thought. Because when you've got 2 days, a full day is like 3,000 or 2,500. And then the second day, and Sunday was great because it was not nearly as crowded. And I think emotionally I needed it to be slightly less crowded. But I know we got a lot of other stuff to cover. So I want to talk about some other stuff that we really liked and we really didn't. But I want to talk about my doubles race and say what I know I told Dave and maybe Bethany already. And that is,
this is important.
Doubles is where it's at. Is that what you thought I was going to say?
No, I thought you were going to say Dave was right.
Dave's right about a lot of stuff, but doubles is where it's at. So I'm going to do a video about my experience. And I'm specifically going to say that a new person might think doing a relay is the entry point, as well. It's only 2 stations. And I say you could not be more wrong, because you will be alone out there and you're still doing 100% of the work in those stations. And yes, you do feel part of a team in the warm-up area and then when you finish, but the rest of it, you're just on an island pretty much because everyone else is doing their thing. Having a man next to me that had my back, communicating, sometimes saying stuff, sometimes just knowing he was there. What a great way to experience HYROX. I mean, I never let my heart rate get too high. I mean, I can break it down station by station, but like, I just enjoyed it in a way that I didn't think I would. And I may never do singles. I will still do relays. I mean, probably will do singles, but I think a HYROX doubles is such a great way to experience HYROX as a new person and fun and challenge yourself. Like you can do all the things and then still go out there and test yourself in a singles if there's 2 days or they're 12 hours apart or whatever.
There's just something so unique, I think, about the collective suffering with another human being that you just don't get that when you're racing solo. And I think there's this security blanket built in with doubles because you can smash things and you don't have to worry about how it's going to affect you later because you can get that little bit of reprieve with tagging in your partner at the stations.
Yeah, and especially if you've got a true partner, right? Like it's kind of like when you go into World's Toughest, right? And you say, listen, we really want to be together, but I'm telling you right now, like if you're doing better than me and you want to keep going, I'll support you to do so, right? And then that person says, yes, I'll do that. Or then they go, you know what, fuck it, let's stay together or whatever. And like, I know I had that. Dean and I didn't know each other. Dean Novick, my partner, older than me, awesome dude. And I knew that he's about my shape, but I'm still always worried about being the slow person. You're always worried about being the weak link, right? Yeah. Elite or not, you're just kind of, unless you, right?
Yeah. I've been running with Beth for a while. I just assume I'm the weak link. I just take
So he was like, Matt, don't worry. But I was still worried because I just don't want to be the weak link and I don't want to blow up. And so I set some pretty low bars for myself based on recently stuff that happened, but I'm really glad I did. Okay. And Dave really helped me. Thank you, Dave.
That's
because not only did my goal was obviously not stop, but also not to walk. And that's a big distinction because I saw, man, within one station, really elite and really not so elite people in the slow lane walking, right? Because, and they still finish faster than me, but the point is that like they went out too hot and it's just so easy to do that. And, you know, I saw somebody I thought was going to throw up. I was like, are you okay? Anyway, so we started running and the pace was like fine. And then we said, let's split let's split the erg evenly. And I told him ahead of time, I said, listen, I'm going to go really slow. Like I kind of overemphasize it. But he was like, let's switch it, 350. So he switched, right? And then in my mind, I was going to go to 750 until I realized that about 680, that half would be 700, not 750 or the next 300, right? So I did that. We switched. The only time my heart rate got too high was the sled. And that's because we went past the plan. We said, let's do half each, not all the way half each, just half and half. And then on his second go, he went all the way. So then, of course, I did mine, and then I fucked myself. And I was like, God damn it, because my heart rate was jacked, and I was worried it was never going to come back down, but it did. And everything was fine. I did my share on everything, and I was really worried about not pulling my share, except for wall balls. My wall balls were atrocious. I clearly still need a lot of work to do on those, but I loved it, and I will 100% do doubles again.
Yeah. So I know you don't like to do this, but can we at least acknowledge that this champ is in the chat room?
Who showed up? Sorry,
Marcus Wallace, man.
Oh, hey, Marcus. I did. I posted this thing earlier.
For 2 seconds. I mean, Marcus deserves more fanfare than 2 seconds.
Marcus, we love you. We can talk about the pro race as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think that, yeah, I can't say enough about doing doubles. I don't know. Do you have any other questions, Dave, about my race?
No, but I will say that the comment there, that's a good comment you should put up about you. It's about you, so you can put it up.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've tried not to have such a low bar, but like, I'm at where I'm at. So I'm gonna.
How was your race nutrition?
Well, hang on one second. Let me say one thing. I'm gonna pick on Amber a little bit because like we were talking before, like we were all hanging out on Saturday, and I was talking about Dave's going to come, and we were talking about doing my burpees, and I was like, I want to do them in 2.5 minutes or whatever. And she was like, God, that's slow.
2.5 minutes?
And I was like,
Bethany, back off.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, yes, 2.5 minutes. The goal is for me not to stop, and I've been stopping, and I've been laying down. And so she reacted like you did, Bethany, and she was like, that's really slow. I said, yeah, that's where I'm at. Bethany's so confused.
I'll fill you.
Oh, okay.
All in due time.
Bethany's so confused. Bethany, I do about 10 and then I have to lay down. So the point is to go slower so I don't have to lay down.
Wait, you're talking about HYROX burpees?
No. He's gone.
Sorry, DEKA burpees. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Never mind. This makes more sense.
DEKA burpees. Sorry, we're talking about DEKA burpees.
I thought you were talking about doing the HYROX burpee broad jumps in 2.5 minutes.
Well, so he had that. What? That's fucking amazing. Look.
Yeah, I was like, that's really fast.
No. DEKA. It's not about doing the DEKA. And anyway, her reaction was like, God, that's slow. And I'm like, you're supposed to be a coach. Meet people where they're at. I'm slow.
Yeah.
So about 30 minutes into the race, I said, I should have packed something because this is going to be an 1.5-hour workout. And he said, I've got stuff. And so I said, let's wait till another lap. And then he gave me a applesauce goo. And it was like, I couldn't believe how delicious it tasted. It was like, I was like, this is like having a Coke and an Ultra. Like, this was amazing. And then, yeah, like after the 3rd or 4th station, we'd stop. We wouldn't walk the whole rock zone because it was a huge rock zone. But like when we got to the water, we'd walk a little bit, take a sip of water, go to the next station, right? So yeah, I need to pack a gel. I just don't know why I didn't think to do that. Maybe 2 gels.
So I put a handful of gummy bears in my pocket. And then you can just take like a gummy bear or 2 at a time.
Like the kind that like get you high? Is that what you mean?
No. What? No. No. Haribo brand gummy bears.
I know what Haribo is.
Oh,
I know what gummy bears are. That's not really but I'm not a gummy bears guy. Like that's not.
Had taken the ones that got her high, she would have been less pissed off during that double. And everything would have been fine.
Like, hey, it's all right, man. You guys
go
right past me. Go right past me.
Right, it's all the same.
Go right past me, eh? No, that gummy bears is like a sugar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I need different stuff. I want calories. I want electrolytes. I don't want sugar. I mean, I don't want sugar just in that form. Anyway, not my race snack of choice.
So here's your next step, Matt.
Yes.
Don't stop in the rock zone. keep that same run pace through the rock zone.
Right, but if you're going to stop to drink water, you can't. You have to stop and get the water.
Don't stop.
No, we both were in great need of nutrition, and he throws the water on himself too. That's also his move.
Yeah.
I also learned, again, things I don't practice clearly, obviously, based on my video. I don't need to do an actual push-up on my burpee broad jumps, and that's what I was doing, and made my life a lot harder.
Yeah, you do that nice little to the knee, foot forward, foot beside it, jump.
Yeah, like I've been pushing up, and you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Or pushing down and then
It's like
pushing
doing
up.
the worm.
Yeah.
Right, but again, didn't practice enough. But I loved it. Pull up my notes here.
Apparently, the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto gives out gummy bears. So apparently, next time in Toronto, that's the way to do.
Which Matt K is that? Is that Matt Kemp? Is that you, Matt?
Probably.
Could be Matt Kemp. I don't think that's Matt Kemp though. So do we want to talk about what we didn't love, or do we want to talk about more things that we loved before we get to what we didn't love?
I think there's some things actually I want to say that are good things. They're good.
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
One, I thought that the course layout was fantastic. I thought it made sense. It worked nice. Like everything was logical. At no point were you like, where's this? Where's this? Where's that? Everything it flowed well. I mean, you put the wall balls in the middle, but that's obviously for, spectators.
But other than that, it went in order, which again, I don't understand why they can't always do that.
That's what I mean. Everything was boom, boom, boom. It went really well. It was very good. Course layout was good. I thought the venue was excellent. I thought the venue was really good. Parking was very easy.
Yeah.
And
unless you tried to get in or out when the soccer game was leaving or starting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At that point, yeah. But so for me, like I very underused was the underground parking beneath the building, because I parked down there both days and it was like tons of space.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't know to go there.
I guess not. No. So and it was $20 or $21. I'm like, for Toronto parking, that's fantastic.
Is that 21 Canadian?
21 Canadian.
That's like 17 American dollars, eh?
Exactly. So, and that was the whole day. So I thought that was great. Venue was awesome. I love the venue. Everything was really good that way. So really was happy with the layout, was happy with the venue. I think that those were two super highlights for me, because those are the things that I really complained about in New York. So I thought that this was so much better that way.
I feel like this layout could potentially be the layout that HYROX should be consistently. Everything's in order, wall balls in the middle. 2.5 laps. It's easy to count.
So here's the part that makes it super easy. And again, I don't know why they don't just always do this. People were confused because the day before they had said 2.75 laps, right? And technically it is, because you leave here and you come in here. But just say pass the in arch on the third time, every time go in. Yeah. Super easy to remember. Mm-hmm. And every time you look at the counter, which isn't always right, but then we would check with each other because I forgot. I go, is this 1 or 2? He's like, this is 2. She makes a joke in the start zone. Who's going to be the counter for the other person? Who's going to be the counter for your team? And most people point to the other person, whatever. But we did that. And so, yeah, don't say 2.5. Just say, third time you pass the in arch, go in every time. Don't say 2.5. Don't say 2.75.
Yeah.
I think, well, the big confusion too was on the live stream the night before. They had said for the first one that you go in on the second time and not the third.
So it was a mistake. It wasn't that they reset the course up.
No, it was a mistake done on the live stream, right? It was just a miscommunication and ended up a mistake. Now they probably should have went back out there and posted everywhere. No. But it was addressed as well in the starting corral that, third time in. So, but you're right. Just wording it as the third time you see the arch, you go in. And
right.
It was very good. I did run across quite a few people, because as soon as you put one of those judge shirts on, everybody comes up to you with their penalty issues, their timing issues, and all that stuff. By the way, I don't mind. That's cool. It's great with me, because I got to help a lot of people and solve a lot of problems, but a lot of time penalties for not enough laps. Like I saw 2 or 3 guys that had 20 minutes in time penalties.
Whoa.
For missing laps. So
it's like at that point they're doing it on purpose.
Well, I did ask him. It was like half the race they did it right, half the race they did it wrong. And I'm like, did someone clue you in midway or something? Like, because one guy did it wrong for the first half of the race, and then somehow must have smartened up or was following someone and started doing it right. But anyway, there was a lot of time penalties because of that. So it definitely could be communicated a little better, and I'm sure the live stream thing had a lot to do with it. That a lot of people confused. But yeah, third time in, I got them all.
Yeah, I've been saying it since day one, pretty much. Why can't we have 2 layouts? If a building's longer than it is wide, it's one way. If it's wider than it is long, it's another. But maybe venues are more challenging. I can also understand from season to season, if you have different sponsors, maybe the center gets bigger or smaller. Maybe that's the only other thing I could think. But yeah, for Germans who are supposed to be good with precision, etc., I don't know what the holdup is. And yes, I found this to be quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what else do we like before we get into, I know there's some issues.
What else did we like? Well, there's a lot of stuff. Like, there was a lot of good stuff, right? DJs were good. Announcers were good. You had some of the food. How was the food?
At the venue?
Yeah.
So I tried to do my super healthy choices thing and went to shopping, which I have to tell everybody how cheap food in Canada is. Unbelievable. Bought like $17 worth of groceries, which was like 2 bags, grapes, lunch meat, nuts. So good. But then on day 2, I saw Amber finishing a salad, and usually venue food, like it's the venue's food, not even like a vendor, is garbage. And this was a chicken salad, very like better than your average chicken salad. They had coffee there that was just Starbucks. So I just took, had a couple coffees. What else about the venue?
I got another one. And it was something I complained about in New York. Bathrooms. Very clean, very accessible, very enough of them. There was enough. So that was really good to see, as well as the fact that in New York, like if you wanted to go, like you remember, right, if you wanted to go to the bathroom before your run, you better leave 45 minutes ahead of time for your pre-race bathroom break, or you're not going to make it. Here, it was boom, boom, quick, and then like it was really close. So the bathroom situation was great, and that goes again with just having a good venue itself.
Yeah, there was bathrooms that were inside the space and bathrooms that were just like in the hallways before you registered or where you registered. I want to give a shout out to the young men and women that were most of the volunteers this weekend, especially in bag check. I saw these boys like just killing themselves, because that's also where I happen to keep my stuff, was back there. And they were just like, I just saw them taking care of people all weekend, like running back and forth with bags. Sometimes you could tell it was taking a while, and someone would like come with them and they would like try to help them. And anyway, I don't know if they found them all like at a high school or something, but it was clearly like a group of young men and women, which I'm sure may not make the best wall ball judges, which we'll get to. But on the red side, on the red side and the bag check side, they did great.
Pro tip: if you were in the underground parking, it was way quicker just to rock back to your car and get your bag out of there than it was to have it in the bag check.
Yeah, I couldn't. I am so frightened of bag check from, just for years from OCR. I've just like, kept it in my car or whatever. But yeah, it's just like too risky to me. It's like there's just so much stuff back there.
Well, another slam on New York. Like bag check took us like fucking an hour to get bag in New York.
Yeah, the line looks like on Saturday, at one point, the line getting out of bag check was pretty rough. But yeah, the team that they have, so they have Coach the DJ on the stage, who's awesome. They have Tommy, who's walking around on the mic for most of the day, and then Danielle in the start zone. Yeah. And then Tommy usually does the awards. They had a new gal this time who also did some of the stuff with Danielle, and then she did awards. I gotta knock her a little bit though. She did the whole like, hey, I'm gonna butcher your names, and then really did butcher people's names. But I feel like you can butcher names, but then you can also really give it an effort. So
yeah,
somebody's got to be like, you got to try a little bit harder, because sometimes it was something that you could say if you just looked at it, and she just didn't.
You're allowed to say Maria Fetchik wrong, because that one's tough.
Right.
Okay, but there's a lot of other ones that were.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully she'll. And again, once you get to know people, like Tommy, again, like he's such a pro that by the time he gets to the awards, like the second time, he's like, oh yeah, I saw you in Vegas, and oh, you won this in Dubai, or he's like right on it that way. Speaking of which, Colin Steefer, and that is his name, Colin Steefer, and I know that because I asked for correction 2 years ago, and he kept calling him Stifer on the mic. And I went up to Tommy and I go, Tommy, it's Steefer. He's like, Matt, I know, but HYROX told me it's Stifer. I go, listen, I'm telling you, it's fucking Steefer. So you ask him, you ask him next time he comes by. You ask him next time he comes by.
Stifler's mom.
And he did. I said, just ask him when he's sitting on the rower. And he asked him, and he said, it's Steefer. And he's like, thanks, Mappy Davis. Like,
how did they do with Bevilacqua?
Yeah, like Steefer, you're either going to say Stifer or Steefer. You're not going to say, you're not going to say Steffler or Stifler. You got.
They said Steffler when they announced the awards.
Yeah, take an extra moment. Take an extra moment to get the name right. Let's answer this question. How comparable do you think the Toronto Times were to New York Times? I was 8 seconds in the difference. Everybody I talked to said I got a PR. So either we're all getting better, and or this is a faster course, or it's like we still need more data over the course of the season to find out, right? Because we just can't tell. Everybody I talked to PR'd.
I would be stunned if you didn't improve your time over New York. I think New York was actually a fine setup for the course, right? For the layout.
Well, it was hot out,
but it was so hot, like, and it was again so crowded that I would be surprised that if you didn't PR. So I would say this course was definitely faster than New York.
Mm-hmm.
So the course isn't faster, like the course necessarily isn't faster.
No, but just in general, we got slow courses, fast courses. What I would say that this one wasn't ridiculous, like it wasn't a Germany airport course, but it did lead itself slightly to the faster course.
I think the conditions, though, of it just being in a cool, air-conditioned building makes a huge difference compared to being in New York in the sun.
Yeah, and the corners were nice. Like you could apex the corners, and you didn't have that the sharp turn. So I think it was a good quick course. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think we are all getting a lot faster. I think this is going to make for a crazy pro season. Peter Benoit says, "I'll unpat my back." Is it Benoit? Did I say it right? Or you?
That looks like a Benoit.
You can always pat yourself in the back. You don't ever need to unpat yourself in the back.
PR is a PR.
Yeah, I mean, I technically PR'd that was my fastest HYROX to date. Certainly my best job in the zones. All right, let's move on to some of the stuff that we did not love. Now, I want to go with how do I put this? I think there's things that are small that should be taken care of that I think we're starting to see what I would say are just some cracks in the fray, right? Growing really fast. It's just not the same as when you had the same like 8 people at every race, right? You start making more hires, and some of the stuff that to me is like, this is a no-brainer. This isn't like, there's some stuff will the super diehards will be critical about that the average person won't know, but then there's some stuff that I think should be a no-brainer or should be a way to take care of the customer. The first one, I know I've mentioned to both of you, one set of awards, big miss. Can't do that with so many people going who revel in a chance to win their age group, who it might be their first time. They're not going to drive back in on Sunday to get an award. The people that stay 2 days are the diehards. Most people don't do that. You have a pro side. We're not going to give you 2 sets of awards on the pro sides. Fastest after all weekend is going to win. That's fine. On the age group side, very easily, day 1, day 2, give away more awards, more pictures of people with flags, gets people to come back. Your thoughts?
I mean, I think that's fair, except that the winners of age groups qualify for a world championship. So now you're doubling the amount of people. Well, you kind of have to make sure that those heats are like within a certain number of people. So if you're going to give like 2 people each weekend, then you're increasing the number of people that are going to be in those age group spots.
But isn't that just like when there's more people if there's more people in Manchester, then they just give away the same amount of spots. You just did the math. That's all.
The problem becomes though, which race do you assign that spot to? Do you assign it to the Saturday or do you assign it to Sunday? So for example, like in my age group, if I ran pro, I think there was 1 spot available. So do you give it to the guys who win on Sunday or the guys who win on Saturday? That's it. I'm with you, Matt. I want one award.
Yeah.
Bethany brings up a good point about the world's qual, and I think it just becomes a scenario where perhaps, even though there's 2 different days and 2 different sets of podiums, you give that world's qual to the fastest time.
Okay, there you go. Perfect, Dave. Look at that. See, look at that. Are you a genius? Did you go to genius school? No, you just solved the problem. You put that in the fine print or whatever.
Well, I think too what would happen is people would cherry pick the second day because typically people want to race on the Saturday.
Well, they couldn't in this case because
it wouldn't matter for the qual, but it would get them.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Everybody already signed up. I don't think that would. I don't think so. If it's the fastest time, it's the fastest time. It doesn't matter what day.
If it's the fastest time. I mean, if it's just based on podium, then you could cherry pick the second day.
Yes, yeah. I think
in the second day, I would have been 3rd overall.
Right, but I like.
What's that?
Well, you made a mistake.
I just think Dave came up with a solution, a pretty good solution. Last note on the course from Caroline. I think it was a fast course layout. It was good. I do think the rock zone was long. Garmin came in at 9.3 kilometers. I didn't do the last New York City, but have looked at all my times from past races. 2 flags, 1 spot. There we go.
Caroline could be right there. Like the rock zone was long. It was a long way across. I don't know if it was substantially long. I don't trust Garmin inside. Obviously, it's sketchy at best. But it could have been a long rock zone. But we don't know if that made up for in a short run course because they always do this kind of weird balancing act.
Right.
So
for people that are newer, we're told collective 8K on the course, 7K in the rocks. That's what we've been told. Every course has.
Meters.
What's that?
You mean 700 meters?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's every course is supposed to be 8.7 one way or the other. That's what we're supposed. Wait a minute. What is this? What is this comment, Matt?
Basically, he's saying that if let's say Beth and I ran together as a doubles on Saturday and we were in first place, the people running on Sunday would know the time to beat and they could pace appropriately. As opposed to what? I don't know. It just that way they could pace. I mean, I get what he's saying, and there is some validity to it, but knowing the time to beat is a strategy. Yeah, knowing the time to beat is a strategy, pretty much. But I think that I would still rather see the 2 days of awards and whatever. And if you're that worried about the qual spot, then run the second day.
Just go faster. Cheryl Snow, deep wisdom.
Hey, it's Hunter. Oh no, Cheryl. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, just go faster. You would have won that round. If you know the time to beat, you know where to push. Yeah, but you would do that in your own race. Just fucking go. I don't like that one at all. I'm not giving anyone that argument. I think that's silly.
I think there's merit to it, but I think I think it would definitely be the
because what if you're not? What if you race the second day and win and you don't go faster? It's like, oh well, I knew to go faster. It didn't work. I don't buy that one at all.
Well, but I mean, even within the same day, there was different heats with people running different times. So you also don't necessarily know within the same day.
Oh, Bethany's dropping the mic there. That's solid.
So I'm sorry,
So what she's saying is if again, let's say Beth and I were racing against each other, I run at 10 in the morning and she wants, and I'm in first and I put in that time of 1 hour, 10 minutes. And she's like, okay, so I'm running later in the day. I know what time to beat. It's the same principle. So it can happen from one day within 1 day, not just one day to the next.
All right, let's move on. I'll let you guys.
We're helping you there, Matt.
Thank you. I want to let you guys pick the next one though, because I have a lot, but I want you guys to pick the next what you didn't love. Oh, mine was not 2 age group days.
Not 2 age group days. I don't know what. You go for it, Beth.
What? Say that again. What do you mean, not 2 age group days?
No, just what you just said. We just went through it. Now you got to pick something you didn't like.
Oh, sorry. The next thing.
By the way, the reason I'm phrasing it this way is like, I know people love to say good, bad, and ugly, but I don't even like that as a context. So it's like, here's what we love, here's what we didn't love. Okay, that's my context. So go ahead, Bethany. Something you didn't love about this weekend, other than big jacked up guys being mean to the little lady,
elbowing me. Well, the way that the pro races were divided up, I didn't love it. So they had split up the top women amongst 3 different heats, really amongst 2 heats. And with the men, I realized that they did this as well, but they hyped up the men's race. We had, and even like Dave Megida won it, and he just assumed then that he won, that he won the race. And there was, what's that?
He got wallaced. Sorry,
and like the way the announcers were, play by play with this men's race, as if it was the spectacle of the day, which was not, again, the same when the women went. And they didn't even put, like, again, Maria with Amy, who they should have been racing. So Maria was essentially time trialing it. And then with the men's race too, they didn't put, like, Marcus Wallace ran a blazing time, and they didn't put him with Dave Megida and other men who've run fast times. So again, he's kind of time trialing it, but they blew the spectacle of the race where you had David Megida, Colin Stiefer. And so I don't know how they planned who was in what heat, but I don't know why someone who kind of knew the athletes wouldn't have put those top athletes all together and made a spectacle of it equal to the like they did with the men, which I think they assumed was going to be the main race and the main podium. But it wasn't the same with the women.
So from my knowledge, there was an attempt to rectify this situation, but it did not get through in time, or didn't get all put together, or whatever. I think the biggest problem as to why this happens is the people who make the waves aren't necessarily the people who know the sport. And as such, you're absolutely right, Beth, that should not happen. And I'm gonna roll right into where that added to another problem in a second. But I know that some people did try to fix that. And they did try to get all the top women together, and they did try to get all the top.
But even the women in the heat tried to do it too. So again, like, I know Maria tried to get into the same heat as Amy, as they should have been. And she was stonewalled multiple times. So why would we not have facilitated that? It's pretty simple, really.
Yeah. So listen, as a guy doing media, I completely fucking blew it. And I was told, we're going to get to the reasoning and all that in a minute, but I just want to cover myself. I was told all the men are in one. They didn't fix it for the women. Here's XYZ reasons why. Right. And I thought, okay, cool. I'm not going to try to go back and forth all day live with the women. I'll go live with the men because I talked to AJ. He was going to help me. And then the women, I'll just do Instagram stories. So, I start going live for the men, and I can't go everywhere I need to go if I'm going live because they have different restrictions for live, which I totally understand. So halfway through, wait a minute, who went first? I'm so confused now. Who went first?
Men. No, the women went first.
Women were first, and
women went first
at 1:30.
Right. But even when the first women came through, did we not announce it right away?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I was busy.
Anyway, we were told that all the men were in the same heat, and that's why we blew it, by the way, for people that were like, and I think it ended up being kind of fun for Marcus and him to just like post a picture of them with a beer afterwards. It's kind of great. I'm spending all this time putting on this video together, and then I'm like in the Uber back to my thing, and people are like, that's not the winner, by the way. I'm like, great. I'm glad I spent the last 30 minutes trying to make this stupid thing. So
Marcus just commented there, while he was running, they announced Begita as the first ever Canadian champion.
Love it. Beautiful. So here's one of the things that, again, they seem to know better. They know they've got two sides. They know they've got a pro side and an open side, right? Because we've talked about it a lot of times when that used to be their pushback when we would ask for certain things. Like, guys, we're not just doing this for the elites. You know what I mean? So it is not hard, okay, to add someone. You could add someone a minute before the race started, but we're not going to make you do that. That's hard. Okay. You could easily have a person whether it's the local manager like Jay, or I don't know, just somebody's job to go, okay, the Wednesday before the race, I make sure I've got all the names and we get a pretty good heat. And then if something changes, Friday is the drop dead time, Friday by noon. If we don't have them, we don't have them. And if they show up Saturday, it's their fault. But HYROX is treating it like weeks ago, like can't change it now, can't put in new names. It's like, what? It's a fucking copy space move.
The worst case scenario is you might have to bump somebody out of the first wave into the second wave. But big freaking deal. Because most people, if you say, okay, I'm sorry, your wave has been bumped 10 minutes, they're going to go, oh, okay.
And if it's a random elite guy that says, I'm going to run with the best, and it's like, well, we're sorry, but you're new and we have to give, but great, prove yourself otherwise. And again, I understand some was saying, like, well, they don't want to open the can of worms, people moving. And I'm like, no. It's the open side and the pro side. If Mary says, me and my mom want to run together and you have us in different times, sorry, we can't fix all those. Yeah. But again, somebody's job is to make sure that heat is right. And it's not hard. Because all you got to do is you make one phone call to any of the elites. In this case, Megiddo, right? Or whoever they already knew, Colin. Hey, is there anybody else on this list we should add? Yeah, you should add these 5 people. Cool. We'll do that. It's
but
not
like
hard
on the women's side, we're talking about 2 elite 15 women, and we split them up. Like
by what? Alphabetical?
Right. And one of them tried repetitively to try to get into the other heat. Like not the day of, not the day before, like weeks before. Like that's a big mess up.
I can personally,
which is different than the men's.
I made efforts to help that happen too, and I got nowhere.
Well, again, like and there's lots of people that did. That blows my mind that we did not get those 2 women in the same heat.
Yeah, Atkins did get in, for example, and Atkins I know got in late-ish because he called me and we helped make that happen. And so yeah, Atkins said, oh yeah, I wasn't in the guys' heat, but now I am with Sam and all those guys.
Right.
And
so someone who has proven themselves in the HYROX arena.
Right.
Yeah, like we're saying, I mean, the women thing is, it doesn't even, there's no logic. But even with Marcus, like Marcus could have been bumped up there, but I can't remember the person as well, the other guy who was right up there in time wise, but hadn't run for HYROX as far as I know. So him not being in that heat is understandable, right? But like to have Maria Fecic in whatever wave that she was in, the second wave,
the third wave,
yeah, where you had Amy and Tara all in there, and I mean even Matt, when you had all these women that you were putting on your posts for like, hey, these are the women to watch, they all should have been in that.
We're all in 3 different heats,
right? So it is a big mistake, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, can we talk about Dawson? I actually didn't know him. He's the one guy that if you had said he belongs there, I would say I don't know him. Now, he proved us all wrong. Good job. But who the hell is Dawson Miller?
Exactly. So, yeah, if they had not had him in there, that's completely understandable. Oh, wait, he finished 4th at age and world. Yeah, okay, he should have been there. So that's a goof too.
No, I don't think so. 4th in age group? Why does that make you?
Time.
Because you did an hour?
Yeah.
Is an hour impressive anymore?
An hour buys you the first wave of a local event.
Well, over someone who's never raced before. Like, I know Ryan Atkins is a name that Canadians were excited to see race, but still,
Bethany,
you haven't raced.
The anti-Atkins campaign?
I'm not anti-Atkins.
Beloved.
I'm just saying, why would he get special privileges over Maria Fecic?
Right. By the way, is it Fecic? I say fetch. Is it not fetch?
Fetch.
Now we're
sure of it.
Bethany, are you right or Bethany, are you guessing or are you right? Just let me know. I'm not offended.
You say it really fast. It sounds the same.
Okay.
Maria, somebody tag Maria. Have her jump in.
It is Fecic. I guarantee you it's Fecic. Okay. But I want to roll into another problem that this situation creates.
Okay.
And this is going to come as a shock.
Uh-oh.
Not all of the HYROX judges are of equal caliber.
Oh, is that so?
It is a shock. Some may be surprised to hear it. Now, when Megiddo, Isaac, Atkins, Sam, Jesse, all those guys rolled in, they had lined up the best judges they had, in their opinion, to judge these guys. I don't have the foggiest idea who judged Marcus.
Marcus?
Yeah.
Did he get no rep or not no rep?
No idea. No clue. So what I'm saying is that. And
oh, because he was in the second wave. I see what you're saying.
What?
I think he was in the fifth wave. Marcus, chime in where you were in what wave. It doesn't matter, but it was not the first wave. And what happens then is it becomes, after that initial whatever 10 pro dudes come in, it becomes a little more of back to a little more chaos. And Marcus Wallace, sorry, just put Fetchik is not going to happen.
No, I saw that. I saw that.
Fetchik is not going to happen. Anyway, so, and I'm not saying that Marcus, didn't deserve the win or whatever, but my wall balls were immaculate. I'm sure they were. It's like 9 feet tall. You can just touch it. So there you go. Fifth wave. So his quality of judging could have went really, really bad for him or really, really bad against him because he didn't have that same thing. So that
almost an hour after the first wave, he went.
Yeah. So that not having the top judges or guys in the top wave can seriously affect the race. And that's where the problem is.
Again, it's very simple to have someone whose job it is. Now, I think for a while it was Graham, who's the marketing guy, and who now I think what he mostly does is like all the cool reels you see. Like I see him and his guys out there filming, and then you see it like an hour later, like, hey, the men are off or whatever. So I think it used to be his job, but as they grow, they need somebody else to be the pro athlete manager. Like, just because, like, even if a question comes in, like if I'm brand new and I don't know who Jay is, who do I even message to say, hey, I think I might want to right now they might message a podcaster like me or you, which happens, by the way.
Yes, it does. Many have said in the comments, they ask you your estimated your finishing time in the thing. Like, why even ask if you're not even going to look at it? Right.
But who knows their estimated finishing time if they've never done one?
No, exactly. So if you've never done one, you can't expect to be in the first one. You might get the odd exception like Atkins where they bump you in, right? Due to reputation. But
where do they put Sam? Do you know where they put Sam? Cormier.
He was in the first wave.
He was in the first wave.
He was in the first wave. Yeah. So I mean, those guys got exemption, but like I don't know what Marcus put on there, but I guarantee it wasn't 90 minutes. That which to me would have constituted a fifth wave. I'm sure he put somewhere in there close to an hour, which that guy should be in the first wave, especially then if you look at his other times.
Yeah, it's obvious that whoever is doing it is the same person who does all the other waves, and it should be like, cool, here's all our pro regs, let's shoot the Excel over to Joe person who handles that. I think we've beat that one to death.
Yes.
Let's move on. I have timing gaffes.
Yeah, you can do that. That was like the website issue, right? Or whatever.
Well, so my partner ran his race and his chip didn't work. And they said, sorry, here's a free race. Whoa. And he was like, well, how about we get it right though? How about we, here's my watch, here's whatever. Nope, sorry, you're just chip. Sorry, your chip didn't work. So I'm not sure that's the right way to handle it. I guess a free race is great, but I think like you should maybe both. I don't know. And then I know AJ had an issue. He was given a penalty because they didn't start his time, and they were giving him a really hard time about that. And I feel like that could have been handled slightly better. But I think the bigger issue I had was on the day, if you were trying to follow the live, you couldn't, because you would go to live results and it would say David Megita in every position, like 1 through 10, right? So I couldn't see how Marcus was even doing if I wanted to. So on the second day that I raced, I wanted to see how I did in my age group. It was 7th, by the way. Ask me how many teams. 7.
At least it wasn't 7th out of 6.
Yes. I looked, and when I typed in, Sunday, men's, doubles, age group, it came up the same way. The first place team was also the 10th place team. And so I talked to HYROX staff. They said, talk to timing. I talked to timing, and I would assume the response from Tommy would be like, oh, cool. Yeah, this happened last night. Let's fix it. But that wasn't the answer. It was a lot of questions and trying to go in different ways. And I don't think they're using Mika timing anymore. Like they are using Mika, but not, I think they subbed it out. That's the only thing I could guess, because those people did not seem to exactly know what was happening. Because that's not an immediate like, okay, that's wrong and let's fix it. It was like a whole conversation before they even fixed it, and then they finally fixed it. But and I happen to be a guy that asked. Like I don't know how many other people asked before I did.
Yeah, they're very reliant on the technology. Like when it goes wrong, it's like, well, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. And I'm like, yeah, there's some stuff like when you talk about your partner there, I wonder in my head, like if he had come up with a video start to finish of his entire race, unedited, so they'd know the exact time.
Right.
They'd still be like, no, there's nothing we can do. This is not the way.
And again, I get it. Like you got a lot of people, and you got a lot of people who are going to complain. You have people who will lie. Like you got a lot of stuff to deal with. And like, that's a pretty big one. Your leaderboard is wrong, right? You should constantly be monitoring that thing. I assume that's what they're doing. Constantly monitoring it. It's part of your customer experience. How did I do? How did I do against everyone else? It's such a key component of this thing. You've got to be on top of it. You can't just say, well, it's technology, or, well, they're doing their best. Like that's not okay.
Yeah. It was a gaffe. It's definitely a gaffe, and something that needs to be worked out, and someone should be on hand to work with it and fix it. Because like you were saying, when you showed me too, like on the website where like everybody's name is the same going down the leaderboard, I'm like, that's a hell of a time. No, it's stuff that needs to be fixed. So that was definitely a thing. I don't know whose end that is to fix up though.
Who's what?
Whose fault that is, where it needs to be fixed, but it does need to be fixed.
Well, again, it's one of these like, hey, this is a front-facing customer issue.
Brendan King just saying he had the same issue. He thought it was just him.
Yeah. Cheryl says it's because it's Canada's first race. Lots of glitches. Possible. Like, I mean, they send the same team. They send the same team for the most part. Again, I don't think that was the timing guys didn't speak German, so they weren't. Like, I think they used to always have the German guys from Mika, and the guys I talked to weren't German, but it's from mostly the same managing team. Jay is there, and there's some other Canadian people, but it's mostly the same team. Yes.
As far as I could tell, it was mostly the same team. And not like Jay doesn't do any of that stuff. He's a completely different role.
Right.
But yeah, that was one.
All right. Do we want to get to judging, Dave?
No. Not really.
All right.
I mean, all right. It was rough. It was rough. So I was not planning to judge. I did end up judging, and won't bother with that. But what my experience is there were some judges out there that were very, very good. And there was a lot more that weren't. And I don't really, so from my experience on the day, I was not there for the pre-race briefing that they gave to the judges, which I do know that they did do, but I was not there for it because of my situation, and I was later coming. So I don't know how well they explained everything. I don't know how they picked the people to go to wall balls, which, let's be honest, that's where it really happens, is wall balls and burpees. Everywhere else is fairly simplistic. Or so you'd think. But
you would think.
Maybe go into that story after. But yeah, I'm not privy to that. So I'm just going to assume that they did that right, that they did all that right. But what happens is there's so many judges at the wall balls, and still not enough, but so many that the quality just drops. And it's really bad. And it gets very embarrassing, especially when you're part of it. And especially like I was a head judge in that area, and I'm running around trying to educate and to straighten out the judges. And it's like putting your finger holes in the dike, like the water just keeps seeping through, a new hole comes up, and then all of a sudden, when you finally get people squared away, their shift is over and you get a whole new squad. That's like, I don't even know where these people came from.
How many of them spoke English?
There was some language barriers. And I mean, I'll tell you the story, and this is horrible. I maybe even should say this online, but I'm good. I don't care.
It's too late. We're here. We're doing it live.
The judge that judged Ryan and I was, let's just call it, disinterested.
Oh, okay.
Right? I think we called a couple of no reps on ourselves.
Good for you.
And then to the point of it, later on, when I went into head judge, I helped remove this judge from the area. Because
let's get you over to registration.
he was ruining people's experience.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you though?
He wasn't rude. He wasn't rude. He wasn't a bad person.
No, but I'm saying, was it like he was sent there on punishment? Like when you say disinterested, just can you be more specific?
I don't think he knew what was going on.
I don't think he knew what was going on, and I think there may have been a language barrier because it tried to work with him a few times. And he'd be like, yep, yep, yep. And then nothing.
Right.
And then, like, I had one of the other head judges who maybe didn't have as much experience tell me, like, he's giving people no reps for no reason now.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he got it into his mind, okay, well, I have to give people no reps. But he didn't seem to know why.
Right.
It was just randomly handing out no reps. So there were occasions where I had to go over and just essentially take over his judging. And then finally, I was able to get someone to move him to greener pastures. Right. And so, I mean, it was situations like that. And it's really, really hard because the amount of
that's
judges,
not that bad. I don't know why you'd be afraid to tell that story. I mean, you're not
naming
you're not calling him out by name.
Yeah, I'm not trying to offend anybody, right? Like to upset anybody, because I know I don't want volunteers to hesitate to volunteer because they're worried they're going to get called out publicly. The reality is most of them tried their best and did a good job. Some of them just weren't educated enough, right?
Can I talk about my experience with this with wall balls?
Yeah. So
we got to the wall balls, and I knew my depth was not great.
Mm-hmm.
My hamstrings really hurt. You have to do a lot of lunges. I don't know if anybody told you that before you get to the wall balls. So my form was not great, and he wasn't saying anything. I noticed on my partner, I think I told you this already, Dave. On my partner, he was just hitting the clicker. He was watching, but he wasn't kind of looking down. So when it was my turn, I kind of like, okay, he's not saying anything. Okay, he's not saying anything. And then I was like I am just getting this done. And then like the voice of my head was like, come on, Matt, have some integrity. It's like, okay, let me try to drop a little bit. So I tried a little bit harder for a few, and then he went. And then when I started on our last turn, he said something about the bucket. And like Dean later said, it was like he magically woke up at like rep number 70 and was like, oh, you need to do them right. Because he hadn't said anything the whole time. And I said, no problem. We got the bucket. And I did like my last 15. I did like, rep 70 to 85 or 70 to 80. And then he took over. And again, I don't think English was his first language, but it wasn't that he didn't care. It was just that it was weird to us that he kind of wasn't paying attention, and then all of a sudden he knew enough to get the bucket, which seemed weird. But
it is possible that a head judge came by and whispered.
Oh, that's also possible, and we missed it. Yeah. Like we missed that happen. That's possible. Maybe it was you, Dave. Maybe you told him to get me.
No, I didn't see you in there, so it wasn't me for that one.
But I gotta say, I know we call people out a lot, and I'm just calling it on myself. I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't want to do the work. And so I kind of took it easy for a while. And like I said, then I felt so bad because no one was saying anything that I was like, oh shit, Matt, you got to have some integrity here. Like, let's try to drop a little bit lower. So that's just calling myself out in my, 1 hour and 38-minute time.
By the way, if a judge hands you a bucket and says you should use it, don't take it as an insult. Take it as, all right, I'm about to fly.
Well, at least I know I'm getting it right. Well, at least you're getting it right. At least I don't have to think. For me,
and then no one's going to say a bad word about you because you're like, hey, I'm going to hit that. That's the judge gave me the bucket. Off I go. Right? Don't take it as an insult. Just roll with it. Don't fight with the judge for 20 minutes saying I don't need it. Just take it and go. Put up if you could, and I know you love doing this because
no. I was looking at the same thing you are. You want this one?
Read?
You want this one? Oh no.
Well, there's a couple there. Go. Yeah, okay, so that's and there's more. So he did.
All right, we got the wrong wall ball in New York. That happened to us too, because the 6 and the 9 look identical, and I posted a picture of them turned, and you literally can't tell which is which. So that already happened.
the way to tell with that, there's two ways. The 6 has a gray stripe on it, but not only that, if you look at it this way, the kg has to follow the number. So if it's 9, then kg, or 6, then kg.
You can barely see straight sometimes coming into wall balls.
No, I'm actually talking to the judges there. The judges need to know this. All right. I'm curious to hear what average ratio of no reps are. I had first timers get 100%. That seemed pretty hard to believe. Yeah. You probably shouldn't be getting 100% for most first timers, especially it's not. But I mean, again, I'm going to say this. Sometimes you're going to get a judge, and sometimes you're going to get a counter.
Well, I'm sure many of you are seeing that. Of course, you know, Hiller, whose job it is to call no rep on the world. Like, some influencer was there that I didn't know, who did some god awful reps, and they posted that. And it's like, you know, like I'm gonna post later of the CrossFitters that were there. That was depth. I'm gonna show people, like, this is what you want to know what depth is. This is depth. Like Emily and what's the guy's name? Cormier. Yeah. Like all the like there was another, who's the other one?
Jeff Fisher.
There was another one. Like, I saw videos. These people were ass to grass. Like, these people were given good depth.
Bethany's partner, ass to grass. Textbook wall balls. Bethany also, but his were better. But yeah. So Ryan Reed was saying too, like, you know, he got handed all these different balls. Someone said that their judge was really good, but called a lot of no reps for missing a target. And this was something that I think HYROX is doing completely wrong. If you want people to hit a very small target, build a very small target.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Don't have a giant target and expect them to hit one small spot. And it makes it terrible to judge. Right? It's that I was super inconsistent throughout the judging. So that was something that really bothered me. One more thing about the judging too, or the wall balls. I'm like, this isn't even judging. This is a HYROX thing. And this possibly made me more furious than anything. Is they had a holding corral for when they didn't have enough judges for the wall balls.
Okay, hang on. We need to stop. We need to bring attention to this. We need to highlight. I wish I had like a spotlight or a because this is a big deal.
Yeah, this is huge.
So I just back up a little bit. I want to lead you in. I'm going to lead you in, Dave. I'm going to set you up for this one.
You can lead me.
I received a message. On Friday, late on Friday. Matt, did you hear some people had to wait when they arrived into the station to get a wall ball because there wasn't enough judges? And I was like, I'm tired. I'm not asking Dave. It's late. So I also want to add this caveat that before I introduce you, to say that I talked to Ian K today, and he says it has happened in England, but because there weren't enough apparatus, not because there weren't enough judges. And what they do when there isn't enough machines is they give them a stopwatch and they say start it, and then they take the time back off. And it's not ideal, but at least it's doable because there wasn't enough machines. But that's not what happened here. Dave, tell us what happened here.
So here they made a little corral area where you would run into the wall balls, and if there was no judge available, or for some reason you could not do your wall balls at that time, you would go into this corral area, and while you were in there that time, there was timing mats, and that time would be deducted off your overall time. So essentially what you were getting is a free rest. Now, that could be a positive and a negative. Some people are going to be really freaking pissed off because I'm like, I'm going, and that throws me off. Other people are like, great, I'm resting. This is an advantage. The problem I have with it is this. You have oversold an event to the point where you know this is going to happen. This is not a mistake. This is not an oopsie. This is not a thing. This is something that's been planned for. The fact that you've created this system. And I think that just shows, that comes through to me as our priority is not your experience, but it's putting through as many people as possible. And I hate to say that because I love HYROX. I really do. And I'm probably going to get crap for that. But that's what comes across to me from that way. And I guarantee you I'm not the only one that thinks it. But if nobody says it, nothing will ever be done. But I had to be a part of that, and it infuriated me. And I was just like, people were like, this is bullshit. And all I could say was, yeah, you're right. But I'm like,
Marcus just told us they did this to him. I did not know that.
Oh,
This happened in your wave, Marcus? Why are we just now learning this?
so anyway, it was something that really, really bothered me, and that I don't think it. Like I said, the only thing I can think of is it just screams we're putting as many people through as we can.
Well, I was shocked when I heard this, when I told you, and you said, well, the fact that they actually knew it was coming, so they set up this little corral system. There's another response to that, and it's, guess what? All hands on deck. Everybody in the office, people volunteering other places, let's get people there as quick as we can until the what do you call it? The backup closes. Like, you don't need to be there for an hour.
And I'm going to say there were times where all of a sudden I would receive a flood of 6 or 7 people. But
Marcus was joking. Jesus, Marcus, don't do that to us.
But I would receive a flood of 6 or 7 people. But as I received this flood, I would be told, okay, get them, teach them how to do this. And I'm like, by the time I teach them how to do this, the problem's going to be gone. And I can't do that because I'm currently doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So there was a lot of infuriation, and it was hard. It was hard. And I just, I know there are solutions to do it, to fix it, but they're not going to want to do them because it comes to less people in the waves.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I don't think it's, hey, we're just going to sell the crap out of it, whether we have the volunteers or not. I just think they're just not treating wall ball judges and burpee judges differently, and they need to. You can't just treat it like a race. Hey, go watch this obstacle, or hey, hand out water or whatever. Like, you've got to have a different set of rules for wall ball training, and it can't just be go. Now, it could be go, and there's an extra employee there who's there to train them up, right? Like, goes to the last section, trains them up, and then goes, okay, cool. Now Dave put them somewhere. Like, maybe, because I don't think they're going to like hire 100 the day before and pay them and all. Like, I don't expect that, but I just think there's definitely solutions for, you've got this growing sport and you need to get better at this one thing, and you need to pay more attention and not treat all volunteers the same.
And I do need to say, I was not the only head judge at wall balls. There were others, and we were all facing these dilemmas. So it wasn't.
What is a head judge? Can you tell people what a head judge is?
So, like, a head judge in the zone, we were essentially responsible for trying to make sure the other judges, volunteers, were doing their job right, were as consistent as possible. But then also we have to fill in when there needs to be fill-in. When we're guiding people, there needs to be a head judge guiding people into the zone as to, hey, there's people available, judges available this side, judges available this side, or you have to go sit in the OK Corral. There is also the point where a lot of the head judges, or some of us, were used for the elites, right? So when and again, it comes down to that first wave, they went, okay, we want boom, boom, boom. And
another reason to get everybody in the first wave.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said earlier, right? That leads to that problem. And some of the HYROX officials, like the head guys, came in to take part in judging that stuff as well, and to monitor, which is great. I love that they're there, and I love that they're doing it, because you want the best pot. I totally agree. You want to get your best judges possible on those elites. That's the most important. But for the rest of it, you need to, I don't know if there needs to be better scrutiny as to who goes where or what it is, but, and also, I mean, they're taking what they can get, right? Like, it takes so many judges in that area. I don't know how many you had, like 30, 40 judges at a time. It was a lot, and it still wasn't enough, right? So, I mean, they're trying to put everything they can in there, but I don't know if it's an education. I pay more head judges and put all the head judges on wall balls and get, educated people.
So that's what I was going to ask you, is what's the process to becoming a head judge? Is there money? Like, that's kind of what I was going for with all that.
Yeah, the head judges get paid. Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, how does one become a head judge?
I would say just apply. Yeah, just send in an email. I think they sometimes ask for them. You'll see it on Instagram. Sometimes they'll call for, we're looking for head judges. Just respond to those messages. Send them a message. Yeah, just walk in, grab a shirt, and go. No. yeah, just but a lot of times it'll be on Instagram for races. They'll put up, head judges needed, volunteers needed, and you just message them and apply. And yeah, hopefully you have some experience. And if not, you can get some.
Did we mention we did have a good time this weekend?
I had a blast.
We did really have a good time.
I did. Like, my race with Ryan, we loved it. We had a great time. It was really good, and I love this. I love the sport. I love HYROX. It's fantastic, and that's why it aggravated me so much, because I thought people aren't getting the full experience they should, and the full experience that we've had at other races and stuff. And I feel like they're almost getting cheated of what some of us were getting when there was less people.
Right.
You know, and I don't want that. I want them to get that same experience, that awesome experience, and that's why they'll come back. Is because they had an awesome experience. So, you know, I'm hopeful. I think I think these things can get fixed. And like I said, Toronto for me was night and day better than New York in almost every aspect, aside from pictures. Because New York took cool pictures.
You don't have good pictures?
No, the pictures are fine. I mean, New York, like the pier, it was cool.
Oh,
pictures.
right.
It was, you know, a cool looking venue. Aside from that, every aspect it was better. And so to me, that is great. That's improvement. That's a step in the right direction.
Bethany, will you purchase pictures from this event?
Yeah, I think the pictures were actually pretty good. Yeah.
Well, I logged in to look for my pictures and I got Canadian prices. 64.
Okay.
Oh.
That's 40 American.
Is that good?
I mean, $64 sounds like a lot. Doesn't it sound like a lot to you?
I mean, I'm not buying them. I never buy them. Oh, my picture experience. You go on this thing and you take a picture of your selfie, right?
Right.
I got 8 million pictures because I'm in the background of everybody's judging.
Right.
So
then you should sell them to them.
Oh, there you go.
For like $5 a photo.
Nice. Marketing 101.
Is there anything else?
I don't ever pay for pictures.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover, Bethany, about your HYROX experience?
No, I don't think so.
Overall, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Oh, should we talk about the rower?
What happened at the rower?
What happened at the rower? Well, so Jeff was racing an open man, and he dropped his damper setting below the 6 that they all come in at, and the head judge came over and bumped it back up to 6, and Jeff was like, "Don't touch my rower. I can change my damper setting." And he came back, and so Jeff moved it back up, or moved it to where he wanted to, and then the head judge came back over, bumped it back to a 6, and Jeff was like, "I'm allowed to move my damper setting. Stop moving it." And he's like, No, it has to be at a 6. And he's like, it doesn't. I'm allowed to move it. So then Jeff moved it back. When head judge walked away, head judge came back and was moved it back again to the 6. Jeff was like, "Stop touching my rower." And at this point, it kind of started to create a little bit of a commotion. Like, all the people around me were like, "Why does he keep moving his damper setting? Like, you're allowed to move your damper
so bizarre.
Setting." And AJ Golick was there too, and he was like, "Stop touching the guy's rower. He's allowed to move the damper setting." The judge is like, No. It has to be at a 6. It has to be at a 6. And then so I called the head judge over, and I'm like, "Listen, the rules say you're allowed to move the damper setting wherever you want when you get into the station." And the head judge showed me a text message from someone being like, "Move the damper back to a 6." So I'm like, well, whoever this person is that you're talking to has it wrong. And so anyways, by this point it had all been over. But, Jeff had been arguing, AJ had been arguing with the judge to stop touching the rower. The people beside me were like, "Why is he doing this?" And people are showing me on their phones. I'm like, I know the rules. And so then anyways, later, and he took a picture of Jeff's number on his arm and was like, "We're going to sort this out later." And Jeff's like, "Sort it out later."
But that's what he should have done the first time. Even if he thinks he's right with the damper,
yeah,
fine. If the guy moves it again, you just go, "Cool, I'll take the picture and
Finish
I'll go." And
yeah.
then when he went to the other judges, they would have been like, "No, it's fine."
Yeah. So he kept moving his damper setting.
To keep touching someone's equipment is nuts.
So
so then later in the race.
No,
so later in the day, we find the head judge. Jeff finds the head judge, and the head judge is like, "I am so sorry. I didn't know the rules. I was just told to do this." So this was the frustration. This is the head judge, and I guess paid position, who admittedly said, "I've never read the rule book. I was just told to put all the rowers at 6," which isn't wrong. But the other half of the rule is the athlete can obviously move the damper setting to whatever they want.
And I think what happened was the text that he received should have stated, after the athletes are done, reset the rowers to 6, not just move them all to 6 constantly.
Yeah.
So there was obviously a miscommunication there, but that, I mean, man, we should have screw ups on the rowing judging. Like that's
an easy one. And,
yeah.
And you should never be interfering with someone's race.
No,
yeah.
No, and you're exactly right, man. In a case like that, my recommendation to any judge would be like, yeah, cool. If he's not listening to you and you think you're in the right, take a picture of his number, and then you'll deal with it after. And if a penalty has to be assigned because you are right, then a penalty is assigned. If you're not right, then everything's gone and it's fine. So yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah. But the heat though, with like even AJ and like AJ, even at lunges, he was like, guys, someone over there at the rowers keeps touching the athlete's rowers damper settings. And he was like, someone needs to fix this. Like a lot of people were really upset about it.
I'm going to say one thing. I admire that judge's dedication to their ruling, despite being attacked from all sides.
Well, it could have been as simple as this. This judge is like saying, texting the person, what should the dampers be set at? And the person said 6. And so he goes back over and changes it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he could have texted back, somebody told me 3, like not specifically saying what's happening. And like, nope, 6. And so he's like, okay, I'll just change it back to 6.
Yeah.
It's likely some calamity of errors like that. But
right.
Well,
but again,
and apologies were made and they hugged it out. But like in the race, it was like ready to go like fisticuffs. Like, it was like...
And this should be another scenario of, you know, honestly, the rules should always be posted at station.
Yes.
So like it's a quick check, right?
Print them out, put them at the station. Every judge coming in, just read them. That's a very simple one.
Yeah, that's what they do at Spartan. I know that.
Yeah.
And whether people read them or not is another thing. But yeah, they should be laying there like in plastic, especially with a year like this where there's new rules, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing is they just recently changed that rule to being you could adjust it as much as you want, as many times as you want, because before it was you could adjust it once and then you couldn't touch it again. But now it's you can adjust as much as you want.
I will say for my judges, giving the like that there were plenty of really good judges. When I got to the rower, I was told stand behind your guy, right? When I got to the erg, it was stand behind your guy, and they kept, I watched them keep people in line very nicely, very officially. And then when I got to wall balls, because clearly that's a problem, people are everywhere, this guy was like, hey, you here, like it's clear, like that's what he was doing to everybody, like you face the person, right? And so like we saw really good judging from like, that was my experience of my heat, was that I definitely saw, and yeah, I definitely saw my share of not great wall ball depth. But I definitely experienced a smooth, efficient judging experience. So clearly they're doing some things right. Some communication is really well, and then they're missing the boat on some of it.
And let's not mistake, there were some great judges there. There were some fantastic judges there. There really were. It's just sadly there were some that were not.
I mean, if I had to guess, I don't know where their head is at with the getting the elite names right for the elite heats, but my guess is like, even privately, they're like, we don't even know how we're going to fix this. We know we can't afford to pay people, and we know we're going to have these wall ball issues. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think even they're just kind of throwing their hands up. They can't, you can hope you have a successful race and you bring in thousands, and then you're actually doing it. And it's like, oh shit, now we have this problem to solve. Right. When there's only, you know, a few hundred people at each race, it's not that hard.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's easier with less people. So anyway, there's one thing I wanted to say actually about my personal judging that I did. And some people have said to me that Colin Steefer's depth looked a little bit suspect.
Okay, they did.
So I will just say that this camera angle that you get of that is slightly elevated, which makes it look a little bit worse. And I will say also that Colin does ride that line. He's very close, very on edge. But from my position, which was right beside him.
Yeah, I watched you like doing this.
Yeah,
going right down there.
That's right. From my position right beside him, his hip crease dropped below his knee. And that's actually more than the HYROX standard. The HYROX standard says hip below the knee. the hip is a giant area and so is the knee. So it's very ambiguous. I went to the further standard of hip crease below the top of the knee. And he was on the mark. Now, he did probably get about 5 no reps through the whole thing. So he didn't get all through clean. So just so you know, I'm just putting it out there. That was his case. I had the viewpoint and I called it on the line. So put that out there. Colin, you were good. You were fine.
Did Lauren show you her new technology?
I didn't get a chance to see. She didn't tag me in the video, and we were talking beforehand, and I wanted to see. I was really excited, but I didn't get a chance to see it.
So this company she's working for, you put the sensor on your hip, and there's a screen, and it shows you exactly the degree that you're doing. And so it's like a training app, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you could also see it as a race application as well, right? Where it's maybe if it doesn't beep or whatever, but it shows you like the range of what you're doing. It's like pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it did look very interesting. And you know what's funny? Beth and I did a show with HYROX and Mintra and Flo, and it was like our 3rd episode ever. And
I was going to say, was that like 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was like our 3rd episode. And on that episode, HYROX said, this technology is coming.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see that for a while. We didn't have any electronic sensors at this. In New York, there were like 4 or 5, right? This one we saw none.
I don't like them.
I know you don't, but do you think they're done with them, or they just?
I don't have any knowledge, but I don't think they're done with them. I'm not basing that on any knowledge. I just think that I think they would still like them to work, and I think that's why they're so adamant about hitting the center of the target. Is because that's how those machines work.
Right.
So I personally hope they are done with them, but I don't believe they are.
Well, I'm going to give I'm not even going to bother. All right. Bethany, any other final Canadian thoughts? First ever Toronto HYROX. First ever Canadian HYROX.
I think it was fantastic, and 2 sold out days. Like, you couldn't have asked for better.
1.5 sold out days.
1.5. Didn't they sell it the second day? I thought they did. Anyways.
No. Were you not there the second day? It was way different.
That was when I ran my doubles race. It felt like it was sold out.
That was when she got abused.
You couldn't even cross the first day. You know what I mean? Like through the sea of people. Like, I mean,
yeah. Well, I guess there were parts in the second day where they definitely sold out some heats.
No, I'm not saying there was no sold out heats. I'm just saying it was definitely.
It was a shorter day, but it was still the same kind of density or similar density.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, very successful. They're coming back for sure to Toronto.
I'm on live right now, guys. I'm on live right now.
It's true. He is.
Can you hear that?
No. Now he muted himself. All right. Well, Matt's muting himself. I actually have something else to say anyway. Today I've gotten a lot of messages about the emails for DEKA coming out, and don't worry, you haven't missed your roll down. The roll downs will be coming out tomorrow, so there will be some emails coming out today for age group mile and strong, but the roll downs for the fit age group, so age group fit teams and solo, have not come out yet. Look for those tomorrow. And that was my last thing to say. So the question is, can Matt come unmute yet? And I don't think he can.
Well, I can, because I have this plugged in. When I was doing this the time with Matt Halfhill, and we don't not even using the episode because it didn't come out great, I wasn't. And so you heard it and it was bad. So I guess we can wrap it up there. I know that you guys will have your own Canadian show, your own OFX podcast, where you will discuss things at length. And people should go listen to that because they're fun to listen to. And they bring different things than they bring when I'm on the line with them. So anything else?
Matt.
What's that?
It's where we badmouth Matt.
It's where you talk bad about me.
That's right.
I just want to say I loved it. I loved Canada. I will come back to Canada. I did not eat poutine. I did eat an amazing Mexican restaurant. My last night where I stayed at the Airbnb, I walked down the street and I was looking for a place to eat. And there was like this little tiny place with maybe 20 tables and it was packed. And my dad always said, if a restaurant is empty, not necessarily. If it's full, you want to go in. And so I went in and I had an amazing meal. So that was definitely highlight of the end of my trip.
There you go. Come to Toronto for the one Mexican restaurant.
Okay. Have a great week, everybody.
Take care.